welcome to the Underground podcast. Jamie here representing Team UE again. I've got two very special guests here today, two of our current clients and people that I've thoroughly enjoyed working with so far, Bilel and Alex. I'll give you both obviously a chance to introduce yourselves. Both of these guys have a vast experience in e-commerce, so really, really excited to have you guys on. Collectively, I hope you don't mind me saying, generated $4 million in revenue for both of your stores across 2020, and overall just a great pair of guys to work with. So Bilel and Alex, really excited to have you on.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Jamie.
Yeah, awesome. We got some really exciting stuff to talk about today. I'll hand over to you guys. I think what people really want to hear about is a bit about your story. Obviously, the results speak for themselves. It'd be great to hear a little bit about how you got started in the space, and a little bit about you guys.
Sure. Of course, it didn't start from 4 million a year.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, my name is Bilel, and I live in Tunis. I dropped out of college 4 years ago to, kind of pursue the entrepreneurial journey and do my own thing, pursue my own education. And of course, back then I saw the big opportunity in online marketing and everything that has to do with basically copywriting, marketing, media buying. And I want to get myself into it, but I didn't know how. It was really tough to get your foot in the water, and this is something that I think everyone knows as one gets started. So I started reading books, watching online courses, tried lots of things. Like I spent maybe a couple of years jumping from shiny object to another, like from affiliate marketing to freelance copywriting, and you know how it goes.
So just really getting involved in the space, right? Learning about copywriting and general marketing and that sort of thing, and immersing yourself with e-commerce before you actually start.
Yeah. And you know what? Like things that I learned in when I got started, I didn't necessarily see the results of those things, but obviously everything built up. And as it's always said, like success doesn't come overnight. I think it's an accumulation of things you did, things you learned, experiences you had, and I think that's when things starts to have that compounding effect, and you get that blowing success in 1 year. But it's way before that, of course. So so how I got started and how I got specifically to e-commerce. So as I said, the couple of years into that, trying lots of things, procrastinating a lot, and having lots of failures, I heard of something called drop shipping. And I thought it was really cool that you get to do e-commerce without having to worry about inventory, about logistics, or anything else. And I thought I would be able to leverage that knowledge in copywriting and marketing. So I could clearly see myself doing it for the next 5 years, especially given that the industry is growing. Everyone is everyone is buying online nowadays, especially after COVID. But even before COVID, like it was very, very booming industry. So that's when I decided to commit myself by making a big financial investment in training back then, which then led me to fly to Bangkok and meeting some of the top performance marketers in the world. And
what did you do, Bilal, if you don't mind me asking? What did you do? Did you join a course or a group or something like that?
Yeah, back then I decided a course, and which then allowed me to attend a conference in Bangkok, where I met some of my earliest mentors. And that's when the journey really began. So after going back, I had, of course, a few more failures in the e-commerce. I was running out of savings. I was running out of energy, and that's when I got back in touch with Alex. So Alex and I were friends, were old friends, like high school friends, and I knew that he has he's very ambitious and has entrepreneurial spirit. So we were discussing just like drop shipping and product ideas, and then we just decided to give the one of our brands. Now I know the first brand we enrolled to. That's when we decided to give that product idea a try, and that's how our partnership started, actually.
Amazing. That's so cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So since then we succeeded at launching multiple seven figures brands and generated more than 5 millions in total revenue. And most of our success, like as you said, like the bulk of it was last year, 2020.
Guys, it's really interesting because it seems like you've been in it from the beginning together, really, haven't you? Pretty much since, and obviously running both of those stores together, which is fantastic. How do you guys work as a partnership? Because I know that a lot of people, you know, how does that kind of act as an asset to you? The fact that you've got two high-level thinkers at the top of the business, how does that kind of help you navigate the space?
Yeah. I think it's really interesting on how two minds can join their efforts, and the results of such joint is like it's bigger than the addition of both. It's the mastermind effect. So I think the most thing that helped is in times of adversity. I remember when I started out alone, facing adversity was much more difficult than facing it with a business partner. Plus, if you have different skills and slightly different backgrounds, but of course you need to have the same values, the same vision for the future. These skills, especially early on, can really make a massive difference and can really like give you a competitive edge. But of course, this isn't easy, and it's rare to find like partnerships that really work and that work, especially on the long term.
For sure, 100%. Alex, how has it been? How has it been on your side?
So yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Iskander, my real name. So Alex is like Iskander is the mid-eastern like version of Alex or Alexander. So everyone used to call me Alex for this reason. Maybe you know this name. Cool. So my age is 20 years old. I started e-commerce. Like the first store I started was with Bilel. This was my first store, and I think like naturally I found myself into entrepreneurship just by rejecting other stuff in my life, like school and the idea of having a job with a fixed salary. So like naturally I found myself doing e-commerce. I remember like trying a lot of stuff in the beginning, then always quitting because of maybe like fear or not being able to do to do it, like especially that we were in Tunisia where you don't have any payment processor. It's very hard to get a budget to start with and stuff like that. So yeah, I remember like Bilal started drop shipping before me. Then I was seeing that it was like very attractive industry because it both allows me to achieve my financial goals, which is like very fast way to success. And there are other people who did it, so why not I can do it as well. So this was the mindset I had before starting. Then yeah, I remember Bilal having that experience that I missed, and I had that drive as well with him. So we both partnered on a brand, and it was like the brand was had a big role in our success. I remember like both of us like starting on a blue ocean, using a blue ocean strategy was something that helped us so much, starting a profitable business which allowed us to learn and like collect the budget which will allow us to continue learning and spending money on Facebook, which is like the biggest reason uh, that will allow you to have like to do mistakes, to learn from them, and continue improving like your skills or learning from the things you are doing. So the partnership had a big impact on our success. I remember like spending hours with Bilal on Skype, just speaking about just planning for hours and hours before even like taking action. Sometimes even we noticed that speaking on Skype was something that making us lack on taking action, and we were trying to balance between speaking and taking action.
Doing.
But yeah, I remember the effect of that brainstorming we had on those phone calls, and that it has a tremendous like impact on the success we had with those brands.
I have to say, it's having a partnership from the beginning is something that can really make a business not only so much more enjoyable, but so much more effective as well. I relate to where you're coming from, both of you guys, so much with that. With me and James, both when we started UE, both dropped out of university, and when you start at that beginning phase and you face your adversity together, you face your challenges together, you start it from zero together, and you understand all the problems in the business, it just makes it such a better experience to have someone who can reassure you through that, those processes. And I know that that's something that we've worked on. It sounds like you guys have done a fantastic job of that as well, and it certainly makes the success sweeter when you do it together.
Yeah, I remember.
100%.
Yeah, I remember like both of us being like vulnerable to each other. So everyone like was aware of what are the like the best skills of the other one, and what are the things that he's missing on. Weaknesses. So we were trying like to complement each other, and like everyone relies on the other one on the things that he is good at, and then he will try to help him in the things he is weak at. And yeah, it was an amazing journey.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic, guys. Well, amazing journey so far, and it seems like we're still going onwards and upwards from here. I did want to ask a couple of questions, because you guys have obviously been in the space for a few years now. You've run multiple brands, and you guys are connected to various people. So I feel like you guys have a really good understanding of the e-commerce space. How do you feel like that's changed? Obviously, drop shipping now is simply not what it was a few years ago, and every single year it gets harder, and the environment changes for people who want to become a part of that. How have you guys seen the e-commerce space change, and how have you navigated those changes?
Yeah, so first of all, I don't think that there's anyone who was really who really has a good grasp of what's happening. Like it's ever changing, it's very dynamic, and it's probably the fastest the fastest like changing industry that I have ever observed. But so in terms of changes. I think that, as you said, drop shipping 2018 isn't drop shipping 2020, not at all. Now you have a lot more competition. You have lots of complications. Things aren't the way they used to be before, especially when it comes to how consumer is perceiving online commerce, and people are sort of getting blinded to the traditional vanilla one, like general store, and they're getting immune to it now. If you want to reach customers, you need to have brand values, you need to have proper branding, proper messaging, and it just, you can't like put together a random ad and pick a random product and you expect to win. It just needs more effort, but of course, this doesn't mean that it has less potential. I think every year e-commerce and dropshipping is having more potential. So it shouldn't be seen as something discouraging. It's just should be seen that the reward is bigger, but you need to put in more efforts. You need to learn more, and you really need to do what other people that are starting out are not willing to do. So I think this is the thing, because of course you always have competitors, and most of people are trying to get into it.
True. And I think one of the things that I've really seen is, you know, the model has just become so much more saturated in terms of people trying to get into it, but at the same time consumers are wiser to what a general dropship store looks like and what they can expect from a customer service standpoint and a delivery standpoint. And with that, the market's just getting harder and harder as years pass. So what I'm starting to see, and what I think you guys have done an awesome job at, is dropshipping is how people start a business and how people prove that their product has demand and works. And it's about how you progress that and transition that into a brand, isn't it? Eventually transitioning that into a brand, and ultimately how can you stand out of a market that's just becoming more and more saturated, right?
Exactly. Dropshipping is yeah, you can take it, Alex.
Yeah, I was about to say that I always think like that the biggest human desire is the desire to connect and belong to belong to something, to a country, to a group of people or something. So brand will be always a way to differentiate and have your share of the market, because always like people, if they see value in it and they see that they can belong to that brand, and it's always like something that will be effective, not now, not in the next 10 years, not in the next 100 years, but for always, because of the nature of our evolution and everything like that. So yeah, I think that the biggest challenges are always those, like the uncertainty we are facing in the e-commerce space, the uncertainty because of the traffic channels we are using to get traffic, the uncertainty of the world in general. Everything impacts what we are doing, our work, and there is nothing certain that you can be 100% sure that it will not change. You should just like try to diversify between multiple niches, multiple countries, multiple traffic channels and stuff like that, and this is how you can deal with uncertainty. But I think this can't be a reason for like people to be afraid of starting or anything like that.
Well, it makes it harder, doesn't it? But at the same time, I completely take the point that the only way to create that certainty is to stamp your place on the market, to develop your own market share through building a brand and through building a brand that ultimately dominates that space or has its own certain place in the market. And ultimately, dropshipping, store that doesn't carry that weight. You can't do it in the same way. And this ties into all of the things about, you know, customer lifetime value, promoting repeat purchase, you know, and the way that you build a brand is transitioning away from that dropship model.
Yeah, I view drop shipping nowadays as, like you said, as a product validation method where you can leverage the principles of traditional drop shipping, from like product sourcing to product research to perhaps ads and direct response marketing, performance marketing. You can leverage these to quickly validate like a business idea, product idea, and with the lowest risk possible. I think this is where traditional dropshipping should stop. Then I think the biggest opportunity is in proper marketing, proper customer relation, and and like Alex said, diversification of traffic channels, of messaging, segmentation. I think, but of course, all of this might feel overwhelming for someone who's just getting started. So you need to start from somewhere. Like when you get started, you need to focus on one thing, one product, one traffic channel. Just make it work, because you really need to be laser focused if you want to see success. Then, of course, things get more advanced and you can start diversifying and managing your risks.
100%. Guys, I'll move it on to another couple of questions that some people had for you guys. One of those obviously being with the current situation, coronavirus, which has affected every e-commerce brand in some way or another. A lot of them positive, I'll be honest. We've seen that across our customer base, across our client base, that people have seen really great results, and some other industries have obviously taken a hit. How have you guys, as you know, as business owners, as e-commerce store owners, how have you guys seen COVID change the space for you?
So when COVID hit, of course, everyone was concerned. We didn't know what's coming. We didn't know how all of this will affect consumer behavior online. Things were very uncertain, but then we were surprised by an increase in online purchasing. Of course, as we all know, people were staying at home more and more, and they were bored, and they were browsing social media more and more suddenly. So all of this presented us with or presented advertisers and any e-commerce owners the opportunity to leverage this and to have massive growth. Of course, this isn't valid for all industries. Some industries, like even in the e-commerce, some niches were really affected and they had to pivot and look into different products. But for us, in terms of sales and growth, COVID actually did help us in on some things, but it did cause lots of issues in terms of logistics, especially last year, like April, May, June. We had lots of shipping delays, lots of disruptions in the logistics and shipping. People were getting their packages with lots of delays, and we had lots of tickets and chargebacks, and it was really tough time.
That sounds
difficult. I remember like our older brand was like sales revenue was like dropping and stuff like that, and I was speaking with Bilel on Skype again. And then we were thinking how we can like leverage this COVID situation and find the opportunity in it. and there where we thought about starting a brand related to the current circumstances that are happening, and leveraging the situation. Like, people were more concerned about their health and stuff like that. We were in the beauty niche, but once like COVID hit, we started thinking about starting a store related to health and stuff like that, which was a very big success, but also a big challenge. Like, I remember once we started, we did 1 million in revenue in the first month during COVID, during April, once like COVID hit. With the new store, we just started, like, in just a couple of days, we scaled it to about 70K per day or something. So it was really like awesome.
But
we weren't ready for that scale. We weren't ready yet. That's when you outscale yourself. And your company. You risk to break the business.
And there is like no infrastructure that can be ready for such like changes. Even I remember like our suppliers platform where we upload like orders and stuff like that. It wasn't prepared for such changes. I'll give an example. So shipping fees were changing constantly, like every 2-3 days or something like that. We were charging customers for a specific fee for shipping. Then the next day, the shipping fee are up with 10% or 20%, and we didn't ship those orders yet. So we had either like to ship them and we are not profitable, or either to contact the customers and ask them to pay more. Such problems, we faced a lot of those problems, like, and then we weren't able even to fulfill orders automatically because of those like changes in the shipping fees. And then I remember also the delays we had, like big delays, which caused a lot of chargebacks, a lot of refunds. We were like, rather than focusing on marketing, we were focusing on fulfillment and stuff like that during those times.
Yeah, challenging times. We were just putting water on fire all the time. It was really big learning.
Well, we saw a couple of people who were operating in the space and were, you know, they didn't cut back on their ads at all. They scaled up during the period, and obviously the effect of that is you effectively kill your brand, don't you? Because the customer service score disappears and everyone just charged backs, and people who just took the quick win of cashing in on COVID and didn't manage the situation. Obviously, it sounds like you guys were able to turn that around and manage it. I had another one of our clients that they were doing about 150, 200K per month. And they had previously been doing 7 figures the month before, but they knew that if they got back up to that scale, which they were more than capable of, then logistically the business would have just folded over. So they made the decision to wait a couple of weeks, which I can imagine is very tough when the stars are in your eyes and you can see the revenue potential, but ultimately, you know, it's not the best decision for the business.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it takes a couple of painful experiences to learn that.
No, I can imagine. I also heard about some people who were saying that something like Facebook advertising got actually during the first lockdown where everyone went home, because nobody knew what to expect from the time. A lot of people stopped advertising, and apparently Facebook ad costs actually went down for the first month or so, just because so many people were getting out because of the uncertainty. So it seems like it was a really exciting time to capitalize.
Yeah, 100%. It was really exciting times. Costs were down and there were less competition. And on the advertising side, things were rainbows and butterflies, really. But yeah, the issue was with supply and transportation that time. But now it's different, of course.
Sure, 100%. And let's get on to some of these points, because I think we'd really like to finish with a few value points based on the experience you guys have had, especially considering you guys hit that 7-figure month as well, which is absolutely insane. One of the things which is the hardest point that we always get asked as well, people tend to get something that works. They get something that that can hit to a certain level, maybe 20, 30K months, something along those lines. And people hit some form of a wall somewhere when it comes to scaling the brand, scaling the business. So what was for you guys the biggest thing that you learned? If there's anything individual that you guys learn that helped you actually take it to the next level and finally scale?
I think it mainly has to do with initial conditions and with the product you choose, the product itself. It is very important um, to be in a niche where you don't have lots of competition, that you are doing something new that would make the competition irrelevant. And this is the blue ocean thing that Alex was talking about earlier. I think the most important thing when you're just getting started is especially that you don't have lots of resources. Your competition is way better than you, and your only edge can be in creating something new, like either by taking a product that's already existing and selling it to another market. That's something that worked, or by spotting new products that are having that are not being sold. Like you can find similar products that are being sold to that market, but then you find a better product that's not being marketed by other drop shippers, and that's when you capitalize on it and you market how different you are. And I think this solely can allow you to achieve decent amount of decent scale without necessarily, as a beginner, without necessarily having all the skills that would be necessary to scale other brands in competitive markets, which is harder. So product choice and product market fit is obviously a big part of it. Then of course comes all the marketing knowledge, marketing skills, especially copywriting. In our case, we think that direct response copywriting played a huge role in allowing us to have high conversion rate, high converting ads, and having a funnel that works, basically, because the only thing that's preventing you from scaling is not having good enough of a funnel that can beat competition in the ad buying auction. So this is very important.
So it's about being able to do it at, scale profitably. Be able to do that profitably, isn't it? It seems like direct response is kind of, in a way, it's your USP. If you're in a competitive market, or you have a competitive product that's maybe a little bit saturated, which I imagine a lot of new people find themselves in, the decisions you make in marketing that product is really the only isolating factor to stand out, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. That's like finding new angles, finding new segments. It's really the only way you will be able to scale. Otherwise, you will be just fighting like other competitors in a bloody market.
Yeah, I think like as a beginner, you should acknowledge that you have a lot of disadvantages because you lack experience and budget to start. So you should put yourself in a situation that you have, like you should put yourself in the best case scenario that will allow you to start and keep going, keep having cash flow to keep going. And learn during that. Like you will not learn without trying and failing. And to be able to try and fail, you should have cash flow to continue testing, spending money on Facebook, and trying new things and getting feedback about them. And also you will be able then to connect to people in the space and stuff like that. So I remember like that the first brand that we started, which was a blue ocean strategy, using a blue ocean strategy, had a very big impact on what we've learned and on the next successes we had. Like if we didn't had like that chance of having a brand that is very profitable and that is in a blue ocean, like using a blue ocean strategy, which allowed us to spend on Facebook, try things, get coaching. I remember we spent a lot on coaching, like coaching with Todd Brown, coaching with Jason Hornung, and a lot of very known people. We like most of the money we've made, we spent it on coaching during the first year. We were just like thinking long term, thinking to master the e-commerce space and not just like playing around and being like a doubler, just trying to make money and that's it. But we thought about the long run game. We were thinking of what step should we take to become like the best 1% in the space, not only like this year, but for the next 20 or even 30 years. Like it's the decision you make that you will continue doing this stuff until the end of your life, and this is how you master stuff. And
100%.
you know that, yeah.
That's such,
I think
it's such an interesting point, because I get such mixed reviews on using coaches and using mentorship and joining groups and private groups and all these sorts of things. And the value is certainly there to be had. And I was going to finish by asking you guys, you know, what was the hardest thing you had to learn, or what was the main thing that you had to learn to get to the level you're at? It seems like mentorship in general has played a really big role in that.
Yeah, I believe it's mentorship for sure. And then like one of the things that also plays a big role along with mentorship is your mindset, like having the right mindset and never like quitting, always like trying to be positive. I think positivity is very important. Like being positive will allow you to see opportunities even when you are in very bad situation. We've gone through a lot of bad situation where we were like stressed, and we were very afraid like of a lot of like afraid of uncertainty especially. And that we still at the time we didn't have enough experience, and we were in a situation where we had a lot of employees, a lot of expenses, nothing is certain, Facebook is banning our accounts at some points, and a lot of other problems. And if you aren't positive at those stages, you will quit, or you will just like ignore it and see something else, and you've just lost the game.
Yeah, so it's mostly about like soft skills, mindset. It always wins over anything that's tactical, because tactical stuff is always changing. But mindset, strategy, and the big principles in business are always there and will always stay. So yeah, I think from my side, I think persistence, learning. Now the first thing that came to mind in terms of things that we had to learn is, and I had tough time learning, is delegation, especially after like just after you get started and you are very used to doing everything by yourself as a solopreneur, or as two partners that are operating alone in the business. Delegating can be very challenging. So once, and it can be a big mistake that you don't do it once you start seeing some traction, because at some point, if you keep trying to do everything or most of the things by your own. Lots of people, lots of entrepreneurs can face burnouts, and that really can hinder their ability to expand and scale bigger.
It's a huge point, and it's something which actually doesn't get mentioned enough, for sure. I think you guys have brought a really refreshing perspective here, guys. So I'd like to thank you both for being on today. It's clear that you're both very big thinkers when it comes to this space and have huge plans going forward. So guys, I wish you the absolute best of luck going forward. Thanks a lot for being on.
Thanks, Jamie. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
I also want to mention something. I want to mention also the big role Underground played in our success. So you guys rock it. I remember a lot of times we were inspiring like angles from you, the email you were sending. Like you were not like just an email marketing agency. You were also inspiring us for new angles, new advertising opportunities and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys.
Amazing. Appreciate you saying that, Alex. No obligation at all, obviously. Fantastic.
Yeah, no,
cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.